Garten of Banban is the latest indie horror sensation that has taken over the internet. Created by the Euphoric Brothers, it features an unnamed protagonist who enters Banban's kindergarten to discover its dark secrets. As far as games go, Garten of Banban is nothing to write home about. It's a very small experience that utilizes a single mechanic, and it's made by people trying to break into the video game industry. So why am I talking about it? Well, I personally believe that although Garten of Banban is about as generic as it gets, people are taking the game too seriously. I've heard everything from it's a Poppy Playtime ripoff to it's an insult to indie horror, and I think this mindset is taking things too far. In today's video, I'll explain why. So what's up and welcome to Awesomegamerdude. I'm Nathan, and right here, right now, I'm challenging the hate towards Garten of Banban. If you enjoy, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But for now, let's kick back and talk about it. The biggest criticism being thrown against Garten of Banban is that it is a blatant clone of another indie horror title called Poppy Playtime. Both games feature a similar art style, location, and incorporate the same ideas, such as the Opola bird sticking his head out and retracting it the same way that the monster, Huggy Wuggy, pulls back his arm in Poppy Playtime. While Garten of Banban is certainly uninspiring, it would be unfair to call it a ripoff because nothing is being stolen. The characters are bland but original, the art style is inspired but still not the same as Poppy Playtime, and although it's got similar gameplay mechanics, they are executed in a new, albeit tedious way.
We knew two things about the monsters we wanted to design. One, that they needed to be very fitting in a kindergarten setting, and two, that they needed to look creepy as 3D monsters. We decided to go with a style that mimicked those murals and drawings you can expect to see drawn all over the walls of a kindergarten. But also we decided to have them look like they were drawn by a creative kindergartner. And the result was the cast you're probably familiar with at this point.
Can we please stop calling anything that's even remotely similar a ripoff? In my opinion, inspiration and copying are two different things, and it's perfectly okay to borrow elements from another game because they work. Here's an example. The colorful art style of Poppy Playtime lures you into a false sense of security and gives off a childlike feel. The same thing this game appears to be trying to accomplish with its kindergarten aesthetic.
A kindergarten. Most people have been to kindergarten, and therefore most people would feel uncanny in a twisted kindergarten, and that formed the basis of our game.
The tense music track that plays when you're being chased serves to dramatize the action and encourages you to speed up. Additionally, the loud sounds that occur out of silence catch you off guard, and slowly introducing the monster is just one effective approach to creating fear. All of these things are regularly used in indie horror games, but now it's a problem? Maybe I'm out of touch with gaming, but this just sounds like people are trying to find a reason to complain because it's not as good as Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy, and other indie horror games that stand out more. Come to think of it, why is Garten of Banban being compared to these games? It's made by two young brothers whose previous work can only be described as experimental, and they're nowhere near as experienced as other indie game developers. Just because they got lucky and their project got popular, it doesn't mean we should put them in the same category as games that are clearly out of their league. And I mean no disrespect to the game developers, but Garten of Banban isn't big enough to measure up to the games it's being compared to. It's not fair to the developers when they're put on such a high pedestal because it places unreasonable standards on their work. And also, expecting every indie game to be original, smart, and creative? That sounds like fan entitlement to me. Not every popular game is going to be the next Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy Playtime, or Bendy. The only reason us YouTubers word it that way is because it's familiar and gets us views. What's your excuse, indie game Karens?
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Okay, maybe that was a little harsh. I'm sure you're all great people. But please, please be more mindful about what you're demanding. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Garten of Banban's merchandise. Let's face it, this is a low bar. It's ripped directly from the game, is very simplistic, and I think most of us would agree that $40 is pushing it. However, I would challenge the notion that the entire game is a cash grab and was designed to make a quick buck. First off, the game is free. and you don't get any special advantages for paying money. Additionally, it doesn't throw the merch store in your face with prompts asking you to buy merch. It's just a small icon on the screen and it's there if you want it. And finally, it's not advertised anywhere. What kind of a cash grab doesn't try to grab you? It's in the name. Consider this. Maybe Garten is not a cash grab, and they're just doing what any smart indie game developer should do. I mean, if you had a popular product and you knew that people would pay for merchandise, why not open up a store and start getting paid? People like to draw comparisons to Scott Cawthon, and how he didn't start with merch from the get-go with Five Nights at Freddy's. What they seem to forget is that indie games were not profitable in the past, and a small creator couldn't host a merch shop without help from a bigger company. Nowadays, anyone can do it, and this may be a controversial opinion, but I think that if someone is willing to pay for it, and you have the tools to do so, open a merch shop. Get paid. It's only going to help you in the long run. I'm not saying that Garten of Banban should be the standard of indie horror going forward. I, like many others, find that the games with the most value are those that stand out and try to be something special. However, that being said, I also believe in giving the games that fall short the benefit of the doubt. Because at the end of the day, creating a game is no easy task, and who am I to devalue the work of another who could have been trying their best? It's one thing to say, I don't like how they did this, in contrast to, this game is crap, the developer should feel bad because all they did was create a low-effort copy of Poppy Playtime, and it ruins everything about indie horror. I think at that point you're overdoing it and not being respectful to the game and its creator.
So in short, making games has been a massive part of our lives for as long as we can remember. For an indie developer, nothing beats the feeling of watching people play your games and have fun. And knowing that some of these people were our favorite YouTubers as kids just makes it all the more crazy.
Is Banban uninspiring? For me, yes. Does it copy Poppy Playtime? Depends on who you ask. Do the developers deserve to be labeled as greedy, lazy, untalented copycats? Absolutely not. And I hope now that you've watched this video, you at least somewhat see where I'm coming from. If not, well, I only have one thing to say to you. Bird up!
Everything about this says exactly what I am and who I am as a person. It's my defining trait. It's beautiful. Big, too.
But anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I know there's a potential for debate in the comments, but I humbly request that you keep things as civil as possible and respect each other's opinions. This isn't Twitter. We have self-control. That being said, I do apologize if I offended anyone in this video. Remember, this is all my opinion, and you have the right to agree and disagree. Just keep that in mind. So with that said, I'll turn this over to you all. What do you think of Garten of Banban? Is the game a cash grab? Tell me in the comments below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for selecting Awesomegamerdude, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Gamerdude, over and out.